Hey, eighth grade, welcome back again. We're starting into section 2 of chapter 2, talking about relations and functions now. This is going to have a little bit of review from last year in 7th grade, and we're going to extend it one step further. So let's go ahead and get started. We have 4 different ways that we can represent relations and functions. Remember, a relation is just showing how two numbers are related, an x and a y. Okay, a function is a specific type of relation, and we'll learn more about that on the back side of these notes. But the 4 ways that we're going to learn or show relations, 3 of which are review, 1 is new. The ordered pairs we've known for a while. An example is 3, 5. Whenever x is 3, y is equal to 5. It might be -1, 2. Every time x is -1, y is 2. Okay, that's the ordered pairs. We know that one. We can show it in a table where we have an XY chart and we have 1, 2. We could have 5, -7. We could have 4, -12, something like that. That shows how two numbers are related. The other way that we've seen before and we've talked about before is a graph. Okay, XY graph. We could have a point at 3, 1. Maybe at -2, -4, right? The graph is showing how 2 points are related. Now, the last one that's new is called a mapping. Okay? And what a mapping is it looks similar to an XY chart where we have this list of x's and this list of y's. Okay? We might have 1, 2, 3, 4 in the x and 5, 6, 7 in the y. And what a mapping does is it draws an arrow from every x value to every y value. So if 1 is supposed to be paired up with 6, I draw an arrow from 1 to 6. If 2 is supposed to be paired up with 5, I'll go from 2 to 5. If it's going to draw. There we are. All right. 3 goes to 7, and maybe 4 also goes to 7. So that's all a mapping is it's showing with arrows which x value goes to which y value. Okay? So that's how we can show them. One of the things you'll be asked to do is to be able to make all these. So let's take this example. I gave us the ordered pair, so you need to show me the table, the graph, and the mapping for this. Well, the table we can start with. We've done this for a while. I can start with my x being 2, my y being 0. That's this point right here. Then we're going to move on to the next point, -2, 1. We have a 3, 6, and a 5, -6. That's all making the XY chart is. Then we have the graph. We've known how to graph points for a while. We have 2, 0. Oh, bless me, sorry. -2, 1. We have a 3, 6. And we have 5, -6. Somewhere right about there. Okay? There's the graph showing that relation. Then the last thing is going to be the mapping. I list all my x's, 2, -2, 3, 5. I list all my y's, which are 0, 1, 6, -6, and then draw an arrow. In this case, they all are just matching up right with each other straight across. Okay? That's all it talks about when we're displaying functions. You need to know how to, and relations. You need to know how to make all 4 of those and know how to read all 4 of those as far as what they mean. Okay? Now, determine if a relation is a function. Remember I said a function is just a specific type of relation. Okay? So a function is a relation in which each x value is paired with exactly one y value. Okay? So what you're going to be asked to do is make the relation in all 4 forms, the ordered pairs, the table, the mapping, and the graph, and then tell if it's a function or not a function. Do not write yes or no. That doesn't tell me anything. It's either function or not a function. Okay, and we're going to talk about what function and not a function looks like here in just a minute. Remember, it's every x value paired with exactly one y value. So I have this table. Let's list the ordered pairs first. I have 3, 1. I have 5, 2. I have 6, 3. And I have 5, 4. Okay. Then I'm going to make a mapping. So my x values are 3, 5, and 6. Notice I only had to write 5 once. Okay? Just because it's listed twice in the other things in a mapping, I do not have to write it twice. And you'll see why here in a second. So my y's are 1, 2, 3, and 4. 3 goes to 1. Now here's why you only have to write 5 once. Because I can draw an arrow from 5 to 2 and an arrow from 5 to 4. And then 6 goes to 3. Okay? And the last thing we have is the graph. My graph is at 3, 1, at 5, 2, at 6, 3, and I ran out of space. I'm at 5, 4. Okay? Now I have to determine if this is a function or not a function. Remember, a function is something that every x value is paired with exactly one y value. So let's look at my x's. This 3 has one y value. It's got one arrow going to the 1. The 6 has one y value going to the 3. My 5, on the other hand, is going to 2, and it's going to 4. That means 5 has 2 different y values. Therefore, this is not a function. Okay? The easiest one that I think to tell it from is the mapping, because as soon as you see 2 arrows leaving the x, that means it's not a function. Okay? 2 arrows leaving any single x value means it's not a function. All right? Now, the last thing we need to point out here in this section is what's called the vertical line test. Okay? The vertical line test is one thing to help us on a graph to determine if it's function or not a function. You may get something like this. It'll give you a graph, and it'll have some sort of a curve on it like this, where we can't make a mapping or an XY chart or ordered pairs from it. We're just given this graph, and we need to know if this is a function or if it's not a function. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to create an infinite amount of imaginary vertical lines. We're just going to picture all these vertical lines running down through the graph. Okay? At every single place. If any of those touch the graph more than once, it is not a function. So if I look at this example, I see all these places where the vertical lines are touching. They're only touching one time. Okay? So this one is a function. On the other hand, if I have a graph like this, I can draw this line right down through here. It's touching my graph 1, 2, 3 times. Okay? So this is not a function. And that's called the vertical line test. It's because we're taking vertical lines and seeing how many times it touches our graph. Okay? So that's the end of section 2. Make sure we get the practice for this. We'll be having a quiz over sections 1 and 2 in the near future. So make sure you're ready, and we'll see you in class. Bye.